In this video, I'll show you all the necessary steps to become a licensed contractor and all the details that come with the process. You see, most applicants think that you need to study and complete the course before applying for their contractor's license. That's not the case here. Unlike other state tests or occupations, there is no requirement for a certificate of completion from an exam preparation school before applying. Although it's not required, it's highly recommended to take an exam preparation course, since without it, many applicants tend to fail. For this reason, we want you to watch this entire video and follow all the steps outlined. This will ensure you pass and get your license as quickly as possible. All right, on to the process. On average, it will take 2 to 3 months for you to become a licensed contractor. But everyone's experience differs. The speed of it all varies on the time of year you apply as well as the state's workload. To speed up the process, start with the application first. After you complete the application and have the school review it, we'll hand-deliver the final documents on your behalf. This way, we can verify you included all the required items. And when we walk it over, we can have the Contractors Board timestamp a copy. Now that the application has been submitted, you should start studying. Approximately 2 to 4 weeks later, the CSLB will send you an acknowledgement letter by mail. In this letter, you'll find an application fee number and contractor PIN. You can use this information to check the status of your application online. Make sure you use the secured option to check your status. That's the one that asks for the fee number and PIN. If you find that your application has already been posted, you'll receive a letter in the mail titled Notice to Appear for Examination. This notice will tell you the date, time, and location of the scheduled exam, essentially telling you that you have an exam coming up within the next 3 to 5 weeks. If by that time you're still not ready for the exam, contact the CSLB. Reschedule for a later date. The first rescheduling, it's free, but they'll charge you a rescheduling fee every time after that. The CSLB exams are only administered in English. If you want to use a translator or need an Americans with Disabilities Act accommodation, contact the CSLB well before your scheduled exam date to make those arrangements. Occasionally, after receiving the acknowledgement letter, but before receiving the notice to appear for examination, the CSLB may ask for some clarification. You may get a letter stating, attached is a copy of your application. It is unacceptable, or additional information or documents are required. Hold on. Before you react, this is actually normal. It's not a denial of your application. Half the time, the Contractors Board just wants to verify that you are who you say you are. It does not delay the application process at all. What it tells you is that the CSLB is finally trying to process your application. So reply to them ASAP. Additionally, you may get a letter with 3 identical documents titled Request for Live Scan Service. This is a great opportunity to get the fingerprinting completed, so you don't delay the issuing of your license later. Simply bring the live scan pages with you to the fingerprinting location. After the scan, they'll keep a copy and give you the remaining pages back. At some point, you'll want to mail one of those hard copies to the Contractors Board. If you don't receive a live scan request form, don't panic. There's a chance you don't need them. For example, if you're registered as a salesperson for a previous employer, or you were listed as additional personnel on another contractor's license, you won't need to redo the fingerprinting. Alternatively, the state might not have sent them at all yet. Keep checking that mailbox. All right, by now, you should have a test date scheduled. If you're enrolled in an in-person or live stream course, this is the time to call the school and schedule those classes. On test day, arrive 15 to 30 minutes early and bring a valid photo ID and your notice to appear for examination. You'll be provided everything else. The Law and Business exam will have approximately 115 questions, and you'll be allotted 3.5 hours. If you complete the exam early, you're allowed to take a break or move on to the trade exam early if you have one. The trade test will also contain 115 questions. You'll be given a separate 3.5 hours to complete this exam. Your results? Instantaneous. So you'll know if you pass or fail on the spot. The law and trade exams are independent of each other. So on that rare chance you fail, you can reschedule the failed portion as many times within 18 months after your application has been posted, though you'll need to pay a rescheduling fee each time. Please know, there's a 3-week cooling off period for every failed attempt. This means that you will not be allowed to test for a minimum 3 weeks. Don't worry, failing the exam does not have any effect on the actual contractor's license. Plus, after completing our course, 98% of our students pass on their first try anyway. After you pass the required exams, the CSLB will give you a handout outlining the final steps for your licensing process. This typically includes 5 items: the initial license fee, bonds, workers' compensation, fingerprinting, and an open book asbestos exam. For the initial license fee, you can write a check or submit a money order. If you don't plan on operating your business, you'll still have to submit the initial license fee, but also complete the appropriate inactive form. Next on the list is bonding. You can contact our sister company, Blvd's Insurance Agency, for any quotes. If your company's an LLC, you'll be required to get an LLC bond and general liability insurance in addition to the regular contractor's bond. So make sure to ask them about those details, as well as any additional bonding that may be required. Then comes workers' compensation. You'll have to submit proof of workers' compensation insurance before your license is issued. If your company doesn't have employees, you can file for an exemption online. Unfortunately, at this time, there are no exemptions for C39 roofing contractors. Next on the list, fingerprinting. You may have already completed this step earlier in the process, but on that off chance you haven't, make sure to bring your request forms to the live scan location. Either way, double check that this process is done and over with, and that you've sent a hard copy to the Contractor State License Board. Finally, there's the asbestos open book examination. You'll be instructed to complete the open book exam online. It's nothing to worry about. All the answers are provided, and it mainly serves to give contractors information about asbestos and its dangers. Although you'll be given 90 days to complete all these final steps, we recommend you complete them immediately. After you completed all the required items, the Contractors Board will issue your license number approximately 2 to 4 weeks later. Let's recap the process. Complete the application and have the school review it. Mail the final documents and begin your studying. Check the mail for an acknowledgement letter and use the provided fee number and contractor PIN to check the application status online. Receive a notice to appear for examination and contact the school if you need a class. Pass the exams and complete these final steps. Finally, wait for the license number in the mail. All in all, this process will require your attention. Follow it carefully, and you should be licensed before you know it.